Hi, everybody, and welcome to 15 Minutes of Fame. I'm Jeffrey Driscoll.
And I'm Jim Kerr.
And I already said welcome to 15 Minutes of Fame, but now we're gonna roll the credits. Here it comes.
Nice.
Well, folks, I have to apologize. I'm the reason that we missed last week's episode. Of course, in my other life, I work for wildfires, and so it was a pretty big week in wildfires in Alberta, for you listening in Sweden, and so I apologize for that. Let's get right to it, though, Jim?
Oh, absolutely. Hey, you know what? Duty calls, my friend.
Duty calls. Well, let's start out on the ice. The Edmonton Oilers made a big move this week involving their coaching staff, deciding not to renew the contract of Tom Renney. At that point, Jim, a month and a half, whatever, after the season was over, are you surprised by that move?
Well, you kind of saw it coming when they didn't come out right away and say, this is our guy. So there was still a chance, and I think they were batting around the idea of keeping him because I don't think coaching was really, it wasn't a big enough issue that they would fire him, So I think it was a bit of a surprise, but at the same time, no one was overly surprised that it happened this way. It took kind of a while for the decision to come down, but GM Steve Tambellini said Rennie's a good coach, but he said he wasn't the guy in his mind that'll take the team to the next level. But it was an interesting press conference. I mean, he said everyone has to be better. He named guys like Hemsky, Dubnyk, Khabibulin. I was a bit surprised by that. I was more surprised by that than the news itself. But they want to get out of the rebuild.
Right.
And with the third straight first overall pick, you got to think that the rebuild can't last much longer. So it's an interesting move, and I guess it sets them up for they're hoping to have somebody maybe in place by the draft. So this gives them enough time to sort of start thinking about that.
Yeah, I'm surprised to tell you the truth a little bit that they didn't give him one more year, Jim. I mean, this signals that they're ready to take the next step, but I'm worried that the next step for them, really rationally, is like going for a playoff spot next year. And to tell you the truth, I think Tom Renney is a perfect guy to bring you that next step. It's the one after that I don't think Tom Renney is right for. But I don't know, maybe this is a signal that management thinks that we're going right for the playoffs, like going top of the division kind of thing this year. But that seems a little bit of a far reach for me. And that's what it seems like they're going for. Am I wrong?
That I can see what you're saying there, absolutely. And this is a team where there's been a lot of problems, and some of it's been just a massive amount of injuries and. Guys continually getting injured, so you're not really getting set up. Like in my mind right here, I'm thinking of defense with Whitney never really getting a chance to, solidify his spot in the roster, and he's supposed to be one of your better defense. And the defense has been an issue, and I think there's so many things that maybe coaching isn't really the issue, but maybe they felt like they had to do something. Or
I guess
it's a tough one because they were very complimentary of Tom Renney at the press conference. Good coach, did a good job. He's a good man. But so and when he follows that up by calling out some of the veterans and saying that the veterans on this team and guys who have been here for a few years have to be better. Maybe they're taking that opportunity to sort of say, well, Renney couldn't get these particular guys to perform, so we're going to have to try something else.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I mean, we're already kind of going for it. And I mean, we could speculate about who the new coach is, but we'll wait for another time on that one. But what has to change for the Oilers to start moving in that right direction? You mentioned a couple of things, the D-man. What else has to change? Yeah,
well, just back to defense. They need to, and it's not just defensemen in general. They need to build team defense. They need to be a team that, like we're watching in the playoffs right now, teams playing really shut down kind of overall defensive systems where they get that lead and then things slow down quite a bit. And it starts, of course, with good goaltending. It starts with leaders on defense. But everybody has to buy in, right? And maybe that'll come with a new coach. They'll bring in their new systems and what have you. But I think in the offseason they need to bring in a top-level defenseman, like, obviously not Chris Pronger, but Chris Pronger is the example I'm going to use, where he's a guy who takes a team to another level.
That's right.
And when you have guys like that on your roster, it makes a big difference. And I also think they have to figure out which way they want to go in net. Because, you know, if Dubnyk's not going to be, if he's not ready to be your number one guy, you know, maybe Javi Bulin, I don't know, like, do you look at moving him? But I think you need to make a decision one way or the other on what's going on in net, and then just try to focus on moving that forward this season. It could be a really good season for the Oilers, but they've got to make a few, you know, minor tweaks here and there. But hopefully, you know, after a run of, what is it, 3 coaches in 4 years, I hope we can kind of, you know, make the right decision, whatever that right decision is, and you know, start working on a 5-year plan or something.
There you go. I like it. Well, big shout out to the Edmonton Oil Kings, who won the WHL championship last week. Now they're playing in the Mem Cup, Jim.
Absolutely. And speaking of a 5-year plan, there's a 5-year plan right there. I mean, I remember when they first broke into the league. You know, it's never a good first couple of seasons, but they're an absolutely fantastic team to watch, and they opened up the Mem Cup with a big win, bit of drama near the end, but they're a team that you see time and again. You know, they have that unique ability to never be out of a game or never feel out of a game, and you know, when a team's got that bounce back ability like the Oil Kings do right now, it's a joy to watch. And, so congrats to those boys, and hopefully they bring home a Mem Cup.
Absolutely. Very interesting development this week in something that 15 Minutes of Fame has been following, the NFL bounty scandal. Jim, what's the latest?
Saints linebacker Jonathan Vilma, who you'll remember was suspended for a full season over this whole thing. He was said to be one of the ringleaders, all this. Granted, we haven't seen much evidence.
No.
Neither is he. And he's suing Roger Goodell and I suppose the league, but Roger Goodell for libel and defamation for some of the stuff that he was saying about him in the media. So very interesting because, you know, maybe that helps him recoup the losses of a missed season. But he probably has a point. And, you know, the commissioner there was pretty forthcoming with some of the stuff and, you know, the accusations and whatnot. So that'll be a very interesting thing to watch because the whole thing has been quite a sideshow, and we don't really know too much about what's there and what they know and what they don't know and what's speculation and what. But I don't know how much money he's asking for in this suit, but I think he's probably got a fairly good case unless there's some rock solid evidence to back it up.
Well, this could go one of two ways, I think. One, that I think you're right. I think he's trying to recoup from a season, hoping that the NFL and Roger Goodell settle, and without anything having to come out, which you're probably right. And then the second side is, though, if they do have to go to court, or if there's anything like that, Goodell will probably have to show some of the evidence. You know, it's not slander or libel if it's true, Jim. So, you know, then maybe he has to show, and we've been surmising on the show here that he must have good evidence, and so it's probably a gamble by Vilma, and it'll be an interesting one, that's for sure.
Yeah, I can't wait. I got my popcorn cooking over here. I'm ready to go. I'll need a lot though, because this might take like months.
This might take months. No, you're right. Well, there's a lot of talk this last little while here about umpires in the Major League Baseball. A lot of that talk started after the Brett Laurie incident, which was so interesting. You watch it back on slow-mo. Oh man,
yeah.
What happened there, Jim?
Okay, well here's they're down a run.
Right.
They're in the ninth. It's 3. I think it's 3-1, right? Yeah. So Laurie's there. It's a ball. So he starts running. The umpire. You know, I'm just assuming what happened here. The umpire sees him start to run and says, "Yeah, I make the calls here, buddy." Yeah. Okay.
Calls him on a strike.
Yeah. So he comes. Okay. Well, whatever.
He's a little
Next
angry.
one is even more of a ball. Like it's
way out.
I mean, it almost hit someone in the dugout.
Totally.
So he starts undoing the little shin guard and starts running again. Yeah. Listen, I'm the ump, so that's a strike.
Oh,
and Brett Laurie loses his mind, and he starts screaming. And I don't know what he said at first, but right away he tossed them. Yeah. And then he takes off his helmet and throws it at the ground towards him, and it bounces and it hits him in the hip, and the ump gives it like the
bad bounce.
What? And then they start, and then the manager comes out and holds his guy back while he's screaming at the umpire. But you know what? What it really comes down to here is that umpires can do stuff like that.
Yeah.
They can say, oh, well, no, that's not a ball. It's a strike, even though it's a ball. Okay, well, that's fine, I guess. But when umpires are making calls like that, it takes away from the credibility of them. It takes away from the credibility of the league. Yes, Brett Laurie shouldn't have thrown his helmet.
Right.
But you know what? In a way, umpires and the MLB bring this upon themselves.
That's right.
In no other sport are players allowed to regularly harass the officials in the way they're allowed to do it in baseball, where it's a normal thing to see two guys bellying up to each other, screaming at the top of their lungs, or, you know. But I think the league sort of brings it upon themselves because they don't say, yeah, that was a bad call.
No.
You know, they let that happen, and of course it's going to boil over. And when you see the replay, you see that it couldn't be more of a ball, and you know that the ref is making that call, thinking, "Oh, I'll show this young guy."
Well, that's right.
You know what they should do? They should have a camera like they do, and they should have the umpire sitting off to the side with a movable strike zone on a little TV screen on his little iPad.
That's right.
And just put it where the strike zone is. If it's a ball, it's a ball. If it's a strike, it's a strike. Take that. I know that'll never happen, and probably traditionalist baseball fans will probably want my head for saying that. But this stuff is ridiculous. And this week in particular, you've seen 3 or 4 instances where players have kind of spoken up about it, like, who are these guys? And I think an umpire was suspended for a game or 2 for his handling of a situation or something like that. So maybe we're starting to see a bit of accountability. But you know, I'm not a huge baseball fan.
Right.
But you know, if your job is to call balls and strikes, and you suck at calling balls and strikes,
that's right.
You shouldn't be an umpire.
No kidding. I cannot believe how far outside the plate those 2 pitches were, Jim.
Yeah. And we're talking about the 9th inning of a 1-run game.
Oh, my God.
Granted, there's 161 more games apart from that one. But, you know, still.
Still. Absolutely. Well, folks, on that note, we're going to move on to our GABBYs. These are good and bad by you. That way. Well, let's give a good to the way sports is going these days, at least in my humble opinion. First, we get beach volleyball, then lingerie football. Now, apparently, there's going to be bikini hockey for sure this time, Jim. The Bikini Hockey League, ice hockey, Jim. We're not talking like roller hockey, ball hockey.
Oh, it is roller hockey.
Well, it's roller hockey. I thought it was ice hockey. Well, it makes it even better.
It'd be too cold if it was on the ice. Well, I was going to say, that's one of our favorite sports here on 15 Minutes of Fame.
Absolutely. Well, okay, the Bikini Hockey League will start as 2 teams on some sort of reality show. Jim, you and I both played a lot of inline. How do we get to be refs on this show? And
one of us has worn a bikini from time to time.
That's true. We'll let our listeners / viewers guess who. Either way, that works for me.
I think we could probably ref. We could probably find a way.
I'm sure.
But, you know, I'm not a very good ref because I like to yell at refs. And it creates a weird inner turmoil that I just...
Right. I like it.
Put my hand up. Oh, come on, ref.
Yelling at yourself.
Play on. We're gonna go from good to better here. Let's give a good to potentially the most entertaining storyline of the 2018 Winter Olympics. Now, what could that be, do you think? How about Jamaica becoming an associate member of the IIHF and aiming to field a hockey team at these South Korea games?
Love it.
Yeah, that's unreal is what that is.
Absolutely
they
unreal.
even had a guy from the bobsled team on hand for like the announcement. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
So now Jamaica's got a hockey team.
I like it. I can't wait.
We'll see if we could be refs or coaches there.
See, now you're talking.
Nice weather.
Jamaica.
Beaches.
Totally do the show from there. That's fantastic.
I think they have 1 rink.
1 rink. Well, that's good.
But yeah, it's better than no rinks.
That's right. I love it. Well, a good to San Antonio Spurs forward Matt Bonner. When he heard that a 12-year-old kid was suspended from school for shaving his face, Bonner's face that is, into his red hair, he hooked him up with playoff tickets. The school said the hair was a distraction, sure. But Bonner encouraged the kid to keep supporting us redheads in the NBA. Good on the kid and good on Bonner.
Yeah. When I first saw that story, I thought, Really?
Really?
You're going to suspend a kid for getting a basketball player's face shaved? Like, that's the creativity at 12.
Totally.
That's fantastic.
Good for them.
They said it was a distraction. Like, people are going to sit there like...
Stare. Yeah. Is that really a guy's face?
Just try and touch it all day. I don't know. That's weird. School's changed.
School's changed. Totally.
Let's give a bad to an incident at Coors Field last week. The 5th inning of a Rockies game was disrupted by a swarm of bees, Jeff. It attacked the dugout and even a cameraman. It took him a while. Finally, a guy had to come out with a little bee vacuum and like vacuum them all into a thing and release them in the wild somewhere else.
Sure.
But like, I'm not scared of bees per se.
Right.
But I'll run like hell from a swarm of bees.
Right.
I'm scared of bees.
I'd say you're probably scared of bees.
But like, I'll get up from eating dinner outside and leave if a bee is near. I don't want to know what it's like.
Yeah. But
if a swarm of bees was coming at me,
run.
I'm only one man. You know,
That's right. Well, this is either bad or an awesome. Miami Marlins manager Ozzie Guillen, who throughout his career was a loudmouth, always, playing with the media. Anyways, he was asked about a situation where Miami Heat star of the NBA, of course, Dwayne Wade, flipped out on his coach on the sidelines. Guillen said that he wouldn't let a player mouth off to him without a fight. A fight, Jim. Here's the exact quote. If a player came out and said something, it would guarantee a fight. What a beauty. Guillen's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Like, he'd be a good guy to be a beat reporter.
Totally.
Probably sometimes. Yeah. Probably other times it'd be a little more challenging. But it'd be like Tortorella. Gives you good quotes sometimes, but also gives you
horrible quotes.
Yes, no, stupid question. Why's your phone on?
Exactly.
Finally, a bad to Washington Nationals pitcher Stephen Strasburg, who picked up his first loss of the season on Tuesday. Didn't have a very long outing. His coach said he got some hot stuff in the wrong place, which may have affected his play. And that's sort of taken by a lot of people as maybe some of that 8-5-3-5 Tiger Bomb stuff.
Right, that's right.
Maybe in the wrong place, different parts of the body.
Yeah.
He came out and denied it and said, no, that's not. But so would I.
Sure.
I had a goalie one time that in between periods had a sore groin, and he tried to put that stuff on, and we're like, no, don't do it. He's it's fine. Let in like 5 goals in the third period.
You would expect so.
And then, but was still like, no, it's not. I just shot. I didn't know. But we all know.
Yes. You wouldn't want that stuff anywhere near your sensitive areas, that's for darn sure.
Oh, your eyes, that's what we're talking about.
That's what we're talking about. The eyes, absolutely. Yeah. The punchline this week is Philadelphia Eagles left tackle Jason Peters on 15 Minutes of Fame. Folks, we do like to talk about strange injuries. What happened here?
Well, he's already out with an injury. He's got an Achilles injury, which those can be tough to come back from. So this big man was wheeling himself around on his walker, maneuvering in the kitchen. Yeah, when it broke.
Ooh.
Yeah, face first onto the ground, re-injured his Achilles, needed a second surgery. Setting his recovery back by about 3 weeks. He's actually suing the company, and rightfully so.
I would say so.
Because, that's kind of the walker's one job is to not break.
I'm pretty sure the manufacturers of the walker are going to come back, countersue me like, you're a left tackle in the NFL. It was never supposed to carry that much weight.
I'm sure it's got a note somewhere that says, like, can sustain this amount of weight.
Right.
Maybe if he ended up just with the faulty one, that's just a bad break right there.
Well, that's a big
boy.
Yeah.
If mine broke, I'd probably just fall and not tell anyone.
Well, that's right too.
Like if I was on my walker and a swarm of bees were to come by, right? And then threw out my back trying to hit the bees and run away at the same time.
That's right.
If all of that happened, I don't know if I could sue. But if I'm just no bees around, walking my walker, and it just breaks, I think you got a case.
I think you got a case, exactly. I agree. Anyway, folks, that's our 50 Minutes of Fame up for this week. Join us again next week for a whole new 50 Minutes of Fame. In the meantime, I'm the honeybee from the Sugar Crisps.
And I'm scared of bees.
Have a good week, folks.